Hey, bourbon lovers and music enthusiasts, Iron Smoke Distillery isn't just a place, it's an experience that'll make your taste buds dance and your night come alive. When you're looking for the best bourbon you'll ever taste, it's Iron Smoke. Want to impress your Valentine or show out-of-town friends an epic night? They are the perfect destination. Check out Iron Smoke at ironsmokedistillery.com. Schedule a tour with Scully, sample their incredible spirits, including the legendary Grandpa Joe's Manhattans, and get ready for an unforgettable evening. Tonight, Wednesday, January 29th, you are the star with live band karaoke. It's kick-ass karaoke on the stage that whiskey built. And tomorrow, prepare for an incredible Bonnie Raitt tribute that'll transport you straight into blues heaven. Iron Smoke Distillery in Fairport, New York, where the best bourbon meets epic entertainment. Iron Smoke Distillery in Fairport, New York, baby.
If you want it, you can have it. All you gotta do is just reach out and grab it. If you want it, you can have it. All you got to do is just reach right out and grab it. Step into your power.
Step into your power. Well, she said she'd like to come back, so we had to have Shelia Tillich back again. And I wrote Shelia today, and I said, what would you like to discuss? Was there anything in particular? And Shelia sent back a list of things, and I go, apparently there's a lot happening that I'm not. I always think I live in a bubble, Shelia. I don't know. I really do.
We used to.
But my bubble is when I say bubble, I mean like I don't know. I'm genuinely happy. I try to tune in, tap in, kind of, and be guided. I like to be more. I think for the past couple of years, I wasn't. I used to always write when I was in radio at the top of my page, be present. And that's not anything, really, but it does give you the ability to actually be there and enjoy the moment, because the moment is all you got.
Yeah.
Right? That's all we have. And so I feel like sometimes when I say I live in a bubble, I'm not sweating a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I got stuff I'm sweating. Believe me. I told you I'm running home making meatballs and trying to get a kid fed because I found him eating Doritos at 5 minutes to 6 this morning. Yeah. I hear crunch, crackle. What? Oh, I've been up for an hour. An hour? Okay, I can't figure it out. So yes, I have those things that would be concerns, but these bigger things don't weigh on me. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know. But I would say whatever, I believe very, very much so in energy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, okay, tell me how radio waves and satellite waves have worked. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. Okay, just to try to say to somebody, well, somewhere, probably Tesla, and then Marconi stole it. I don't really know. But they harnessed the ability to communicate through radio. And it was waves, and it's sound, and it's something that's in the air, but if I don't have the right device to tune into it, I can't hear it.
Exactly.
And I think it's sort of the same thing with the universe. It's all that way. It's all energy. And you can, I just think the whole idea to me is to try to feel as good as you can.
Exactly.
And I'm not telling you that, let's put it this way. Sometimes revenge is better than despair.
Yes.
So when I say feel as good as you can, I'm not saying, I'm not one of those people who, hey, you got to be happy. Yeah, I got to think positive. Forgive my French. Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah. Because there are just sometimes you can't. But revenge is better than despair. Let's go up the emotional scale. Right? Exactly. I think that would be important.
It's really about how it affects your day.
Yes.
Because if you're in the bubble, okay, but when somebody comes into your energy field and they...
Pokes your bubble?
Oh, yeah. They do a little bit more than that. It's like, what the...
Yes.
It's like, then you realize, it's like, wait a minute, I didn't do anything to you. Why are you coming into my field like this?
Right.
But it affects you. That's the whole key.
Right. It does.
And the reason why it affects you is because you're human and you have an energy field around you.
So with that, a lot of times, I think that sometimes I'll ask myself this question when I get frustrated like that. And I think I'm probably repeating myself to you, but what am I under the influence of? in the moment? What am I under the influence of? So if somebody comes in and kind of pierces my bubble, and I'm going to give you my knee-jerk reaction, I believe our knee-jerk reaction is what we were conditioned to, right? What we were taught to. The parent that used to scream at you, do you need to have your head examined? Why would you do that? Right? And that's not, no. But if we can step back and give yourself a beat, so to speak, and then say, all right, what am I under the influence of here? Do I want to be under the influence of raw emotion and somebody else's energy? Or do I want to try to, let that go? And so sometimes just standing there saying nothing and doing nothing is, I think, the best thing you can do.
Exactly. And just send out compassion.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, how do you send out compassion when you can't stand the freak? It's like, well, first you got to understand about yourself. It's like you do it too.
Right.
But it's like words project out. Words is energy. And also actions speak louder than words.
I agree.
Somebody could just be sitting there like this and, saying, yeah, I agree with you. And you know damn well that they don't.
Well, do you believe this statement? And we can talk about beliefs, because I know that was one of the things.
All about beliefs,
Yeah, but and beliefs to me are just a thought you think over and over and over. But I sometimes think that words don't teach. Experience is what teaches.
Exactly.
So I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face. But it's experience. But sometimes you did say like words have energy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I used to think all the time like, it's just words. But there's energy behind it. And the old saying of sticks and stones may break my bones, words will never hurt me. They will.
Yeah, because
they can. Yeah,
because sometimes those words are harmful, emotionally harmful, mentally harmful. Like I never close the door right or whatever. It's like, where's your brain type thing. And so it goes inside. And then when you do something wrong, you hear yourself saying the same things. Well, I should have known better. Well, those are imprinted energy into your body, thinking a negative thing. Well, you didn't know better because you didn't know.
Right.
So
exactly.
that's the difference. That's about learning.
What about giving yourself grace?
Oh.
Right? Very important to do, I think.
Very important.
Because we get angry as to, I should be over here. And one of I think the big human things is to always compare ourselves to somebody else.
What you said is that I should be over here.
Yeah.
Those are the shouldas.
Yeah.
I should do this. I should. Well, why should you do that? Is because I want to be a better person, or because it's a nice thing to do, or because so-and-so told me I needed to do this.
Right.
And it's like, no. It's called your shoulda, wouldas, and couldas, all right? Don't beat yourself up anymore. Those are mental imprints within inside, all right? And then when you start to realize that you don't have to do those things if it's not productive for you, if it's not in alignment with you,
right?
If you no longer prescribe to that anymore. I'm not comfortable with that.
So, and again, I know that you and I will probably touch on many things we've already, maybe that I've already said or you may have already said, but I think it's so important to say again because words don't teach, and sometimes we got to get the energy out there.
Yeah, you do.
But I would think that a lot of times, and I would go to kids and trying to, or anybody you're trying to maybe influence in a positive way or something. I always now, I wish I had thought this way when my older boys were younger. There is no assertion. I can't assert something on you, right? And somebody constantly harping on me. Oh, you become Charlie Brown's parents. And wow. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to hear your stupid ass.
Aren't you listening to me? I told you. Tomorrow you had an appointment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
honey. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times with these guys, now I'll try to sort of bring you over, almost Matador style in a way, to try to, not trickery, but there's no reason yelling. Let's talk about this. Let's try to figure it out, see where you are. Why are you feeling this way? And I think like your feelings are your guide, but a lot of times our feelings get hurt because we're trying to serve outside of ourselves, when really I think we should sort of be doing more internal stuff.
Exactly. Well, a lot of times some people are just mimicking other people. This is what I should do.
Right.
But I'm really not being comfortable with that, doing that.
Right.
So it's like going inside and say, why aren't I comfortable about that? And then it leads to other things. Well, affects my moods, it affects my income, it affects everything about me.
Yes.
But you do it because you're programmed to do it. And this is being a nice person.
Right.
So this is how you do.
So when people, so this is great because what you do is you get energy flowing. You remove blocks, right?
Yes,
Things that are
blockage.
blocking people. And I think sometimes it's our beliefs and things, and you want to have that removed.
Yeah.
Right? Or at least get the energy flowing and start realizing that the power is step into your power.
You got the power. Everybody does. That's the energy that's here now. That is the quantum higher frequency power. And a lot of people have never been taught that they have power.
Yeah.
They have to do this, or this is bad, it's going to happen. You know, when I was doing a lot of hospice work, and I still do hospice work, but it really, I just love what I do is because mostly the older people that are afraid to pass over is because of the things that they've been programmed to believe.
Right.
That they're not worthy enough and guilty and all this other stuff. It's like, no, it's really about love. It's about we're all worthy,
Right.
you know, and to let that out. But that's all programmed.
Why did we do that?
You're
you're not going to be able to answer, but I don't mean you, but just in terms of like when I say why did we? I guess the we is more of a rhetorical we, but all this control, religion, power, it was a way to get people to act a certain way and do this. I even see I've talked about substitute teaching and stuff, and I was in with younger kids, 6th grade today. Mm-hmm. You can't talk in the hallways, and they're getting snapped at and I'm going, let's just walk. If you want to talk to your buddy next to you, talk to your buddy next to you. Nobody.
Yeah.
I would appreciate if we don't scream and we're not running. Okay,
right.
But we're so rigid on everything that I feel like we make things worse.
Yeah. Well, remember the energy now is everything's changing. Everything is changing. And we're so used to doing it a certain way, and it's like we get discombobulated when we're told we can't do this.
Right.
So that's what's happening now, but it's also our evolution. Evolution meaning we are building towards something different now.
Yeah.
And everything has to change so that you can build different.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand that. They're always in the emotions. They're always in it's like, they get out of sorts when they can't be in control.
Right.
Because that brings, they have fear. Really, it's fear within inside if they can't control. Control is a way of not dealing with pain.
Yes.
Or emotions, stuff that's been stuck. So when you think about the body-mind connection,
mm-hmm.
What you think goes into your body.
Yeah.
And that's what the energy field. Whether it's physical stuff, how you get migraines or how you respond to things, how does it affect your body first? And then the emotions, the things that you aren't comfortable with and you're being forced to do something. It's like, no, it doesn't feel comfortable.
Right.
Or the mental things, well, if you don't do it, you're not a good girl. If you don't do this, that's the mental stuff. And then you start telling yourself that.
Right.
All right. And then it goes into the spiritual realm that you're not worthy enough. All right. Or good enough to do something. So that's ridiculous, but that's what we've been told.
Yes.
But it is part of the evolution, what humanity is going through right now. And it's like everything is changing. Everything, but it's a good thing, but we're always looking that it's a bad thing because we can't control it. It's the stuff that is happening is about evolution. It is about the energy in the earth.
Okay. Energy in the earth.
Energy, and it's all over the world now.
Yeah.
We're all seeing it play out, and many of them can't handle it, so they're just, they're completely shutting down or getting mean to other people.
What do you think the energy is doing, or what do you know that it's doing?
We're growing.
Yeah.
We're evolving. We have to undo stuff that no longer serve us.
Okay.
And you hear that all the time, and you hear about shadows, and what does that mean?
Shadow work,
stuff like that. It just means negative stuff that doesn't let you go forward.
Right.
It keeps you stuck.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, I like the way I am. Okay, that's great, but how's that serving you?
Serving
like
you, right.
Dr. Phil would say, how's that serving you? And a lot of people say it's not. And it'll get you buttoned with everybody. It's like, wait a minute, we're in this together. Humanity is in this together. We're all changing.
Well, we've been told.
Listen to. We've been told.
Well, we've been told, but we've also been told almost like there's two schools here. One, you got to behave, we're this, we're that, But the people who have said we're of one. And I always think, it's one source energy that we're all tapped into, and you're there. And I think it was always, to me, it was the cool people that were telling me that.
Yeah.
And I say the cool people, but I mean like Bob Marley was very right. But I feel like he was very tapped into what was happening, and maybe I'm wrong. I think that if you go back and you watch interviews with Bob Dylan, don't even tell me that guy was tapped in some way.
Okay, so think of it this way. His talent.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Well, exactly. But he would also, but I'm talking about like people go, you wrote that song and whatever. He was like, yeah, it's just it was divine. He says divine. It just came in.
Yeah.
And I would always go, yeah. And you'll hear people say,
don't talk about God. Don't talk about something like that. It's like, no.
Right. And it's not probably God the way we always thought it was. And the idea that I always think like, as long as we have to have laws right? We can't have people running around doing crazy things. But for the most part, you're not doing anything wrong or bad. For the most part, especially if you're coming from a pure intention or whatever it is. So, okay. Well, we'll start with that premise, and then you got to realize you never get it wrong. So why are we doing that? You're eternal energy, so you're never going to get it done.
Yeah.
So stop being so mean to yourself, because all that does is put pressure on you. And then they say shit runs downhill. It's your family that feels that. It's your, you know what I mean? It's your kids. It's all that. It's just stop. Take a breath. Relax. I think the only job, I don't know, this sounds a little crazy, but I'm starting to believe that in any moment you have a choice. Right? Why are you laughing at?
It's about choices, what we talk about.
Yeah.
It's always about choices.
But you have a choice.
And a lot of people don't believe they ever had a choice.
Yeah, but you do.
Guess what? You do.
Yeah. Right. No one else is controlling this. There's nobody pulling the puppet strings.
Right.
And you have a choice. And in that moment, you have a choice. You go with the one that feels the best and do it to its fullest, whatever that is, for however long it takes, with no worry about the outcome. Because 90% of the time, I'm going to say maybe higher, the outcome's going to be fine or great.
Yeah, but also, even if it doesn't pan out,
you learn.
It's part of your learning experience.
You
and
learn.
Then you say, okay, that doesn't work for me. I'm not going to do that again.
Right.
But a lot of people say if they have a lot of issues in their tissues or things that have been programmed inside them, they will go more into their guilt and have more pain and more fear of doing it again because it didn't work before. But the energy was different before, and you were different before. So in between those times, you've learned different lessons. Okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to tweak it a little bit.
Right.
That didn't kind of work.
Right. It's like a recipe.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. I had to do that with my meatballs today. It wasn't as good last time.
That's good. And just like, you can't undo what you did before.
Right.
But you can't project what's going to happen tomorrow because you might choose different choice. But you can live in today and try to make it the best you can. And then see the things where you're stuck.
Right.
Why am I getting anger about this? Why does that person's phrase or whatever, I've been hit like crazy from people that, how can you say, come from love? You're supposed to be a compassion person and you're not talking compassionate. But what's happening now, it's like, all I'm saying is putting love out there,
Yeah.
And
what do they mean? What do you say?
Just
political stuff?
The political stuff that's happening now. And how can you, but they also they don't understand that they don't know what they don't know. And they're believing what they have learned so far. And so maybe it's time for the wake-up call for the whole world, and that's what's happening.
Well, I always think that certainly you could say that at least the first time, and maybe even now, President Trump is polarizing for people.
Oh, that's a whole nother story.
Right.
Yeah, but
I think that people get so angry about it. And I go, okay, the president of the United States traditionally has been, but who made those rules? Who made the rules that they had to be presidential and act a certain way and talk with this and do? We did. Now somebody comes along and a lot of people say, that's the guy I want in there, right? And so that's
Yeah.
what a democratic society is. And I don't know. I always say, okay, then even if you weren't, try to come together. Let's see what happens. We can't go with this idea because I will say this. I am such a believer in the law of attraction or the laws of the universe that the more you push against something, you rail against it, you're going to get more of it. Why will we
Exactly.
never stop the war on drugs? Because you can't shut your fucking mouth about it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's so gross of me to say.
No.
But that's sort of what it is, right?
Yeah.
Now, I can sit here behind the microphone and say all these wonderful things, but then in my own life, I don't always do this stuff. But I am seeing that where I am in my world right now, it's freaking awesome.
Oh, I love my world. I'm happy for the hope
Yeah.
of humanity.
Yeah.
Is that it's changing because it needs to change. Remember, I've got 70 years of wisdom here.
Yeah.
Of seeing things that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And it's like, let's get back to common sense.
Right.
You know, drugs aren't good. Why would we, allow that? Why won't we allow our, cops to do what they need to do?
Right.
The catch and release stuff is like, well, if they're doing something wrong, they
Right.
should suffer the consequences or learn from it.
Right.
And if they learn from it, okay, then you
On we
learn.
go. That's recidivism.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now it's like all different things are coming out, but it's also, where the narrative is, people understanding of what's happening and saying, we as a country are about freedom and our Constitution and stuff like that. And we have a president that is standing up for that. And
Yes.
it's hard for people, if they don't like them for whatever reason, to accept that. But let's give respect to our country. It's about our country,
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that's the whole key about.
I think you have to look at the bigger picture, because
yeah.
you're going to hear a bunch of people. They'll say things if we're going to talk about the president.
Yeah.
Well, he ran
Well,
a
then
sham
that's-
university and he did this, and how are you going to? Okay, fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But people put him in there. He is there.
Yes.
So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to rail against it? And I often think that if you're so caught up in who is the president of the United States, okay, many people haven't liked whoever has held the office,
Exactly.
right, for years. But how much does the president impact your day-to-day existence? So why, my friend, are you burning calories on this and making yourself miserable and making everybody else miserable? Because if this is supposed to be a journey and your whole goal is really just to feel good and be happy, and you've still got the freedom to do what you want,
Yes,
then
sir.
go and do what you want. And by the way, you have the freedom to do what you want. You want to go and continue to hate and get on the social media and write something that's,
Yeah.
a missive that makes, I don't think you're going to feel better when you're done, but
Yeah.
go ahead and do
That's
it.
what I mean. It's like a lot of people don't realize, they can say they're going to be walking a life or whatever, spirituality life or whatever, but their words do show through.
Yeah.
When they come out anger, that shows the issues in the tissues.
Yeah.
That shows that they're stuck on something, and let's take a look at that.
So this is interesting because I think that sometimes, as you call it, the issues in the tissues, whatever that is, why do you get angry about this, or why do you shut down when something happens, or why do you act a certain way? And a lot of that has to do with conditioning that you may not be aware of. And I was always one to, I did talk therapy for a while, and I was thought, well, maybe that keeps you stuck in the current problem there.
Yes.
But if you do it differently and you kind of go, why is this? And you realize from where you are today, that's bullshit, right? That's bullshit. That person's not here. That dominating figure that you felt like you were going to embarrass, or whatever, they're not here, and it's bullshit.
Yeah.
They're not thinking of it anyway. But sometimes you have to get to the root of that to change the belief. And you
Exactly.
change the belief, then you can start getting energy flowing. But that is something that I think you help do with the energy.
Exactly. Understand what energy medicine is. Energy medicine is very documented, right? It's datable stuff that has been scientifically documented. However, it has not been able to get out there, all right?
Yeah.
Because of many things. Going forward is that we're learning new things, all right? So let's open the door to learn new things. What is good for us and what isn't good for us. And a lot of people aren't ready to open that door yet.
When you say, would you call it energy medicine?
energy medicine,
Yeah.
or energy psychology,
Yeah.
right? Or anything to do with energy. What does it have to do with my physical body?
Right.
Well, your electromagnetic field,
Yeah.
your physical, it's the mind and body connection.
Well, it's
What you think.
It's the same thing. That's why I kind of started out with radio.
Yeah.
There are waves coming through. Can you see them? Can you touch them? Can you grab them? Are you holding on? No, you can't.
Same with gravity.
Same thing. Right. Exactly.
Right. But you trust it because you know it's there, because you
it's
live
there.
it.
Right.
And just like getting in a car,
Yeah.
you know, you don't have to go through the manual every single time you do it. How do I turn this on or whatever? You're used to just going with the flow because you've been there before.
Right.
It's just like we understand that it's energy, and we live in the technology to understand it. 100 years ago, no. 200 years ago, my gosh, we would really be crazy.
Right.
So it's evolution. We are evolving.
Yeah.
It's energy. It's the new energy, but the new planet. New things are happening, and we had talked about this before. Sometimes stuff have to completely break down before they can build back up,
Well, you got to think of like, okay.
and that's us too.
No, I was just going to say, I think sometimes when we talk about these things, people need examples. Don't you think, in a way?
yeah.
You know, like when you say sometimes you need to break down, think of yourself. Like all of a sudden your world got turned upside down.
Yeah.
And what did you do?
Right.
You figured it out. And the more you relaxed, the better it got.
Yeah.
The easier it became when
Yeah.
you weren't so panicked and worried and pushing against, I got to find another job and I'm banging on all these doors and no one. And then
You get down on your knees and you say, "Please help me."
yes, you do. And then even there, it's like, oh, okay, hold on a second. Just take
That's right.
a breath. But I want to go back to one thing. And I know every time you're here, I feel like I go bing, bing, bing.
Well,
like
that's what it's about. It's like because it triggers something else, because it's all connected.
well, I wanted to say to you that as you're talking about science and healing energy, and I may have told you this already,
Yes.
that St. John Fisher University has an elective class in their nursing exploring alternative modes of healing.
Now, yeah, it's good.
Reiki, and I don't know. I think I want to say the Bankston method, but I'm wondering if I'm thinking something different. But anyway, the different ways of healing people as a modality. So can we combine traditional Western medicine with metaphysical
Absolutely.
type stuff? And
we do.
Yes, we do. We do, and you're seeing that more and more and more. I don't know. I've never known it to be presented in an academic field.
Well, it's called, yes.
Do you know what I mean?
it
Or a
has-
traditional academic field, like a university. I don't
Some
remember
do.
it. They do.
No,
Okay.
I went to Robert Wesleyan College, and
Yes.
back in the 90s, they didn't have it then.
Yeah.
They started it.
They did?
They started it, but they never followed through with it. So it's all about the learning about the communities and different cultures and whatever and their spiritual beliefs, but they never went on to what does that mean?
Right.
How does that mean, when you've got a patient that is indigenous, all right,
Yes,
that comes
yes,
in and
yes.
they want to have their medicine man there. Or they
Yeah.
want to have they want to do sage
I would
in
think
their
that
room.
would be so cool.
And they say, no. Oh, yeah. They say, no, you can't do that because of, okay, I get it. But not respecting their culture.
Yeah.
All right. So it's all about learning and also nurses and doctors, but mostly nurses, their job, they intuitively know how to do things. They intuitively know how to take care of the patient is because they're tapped into that part of being a healer or a role model or, their ethics, what they want to do. And it's happening. And we've always had it, but we didn't know how to identify it, or we would talk with our other colleagues and talk to them about it.
So I haven't talked about this. I hope the person doesn't get upset. I had somebody in here who is also a healer, and we talked about things. And before we started, said that a lot of times because they remove things, that there are low-level frequency attachments to them, and it'll mess up the audio equipment.
Okay,
So the person came in. Hang on. The person came in one time, and I'm sitting here. They hadn't said anything to me, and I'm sitting here going, "What is going on with the camera? I can't get the that." And so the next time the person came in, they said, "Do you mind if I bring something?" And it was like an oil or something, and they touched all the equipment, and we had no issues. No issues. But the first time there was an issue.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't figure it out, Sheila. And I went, I don't know if that stuff's real, but this person said, like, I do that and I know that it's there and I'm just trying to protect your stuff. I don't want anything
Well,
to
that
happen.
has to do with the consciousness, all right? So what you think is what you project out.
Okay.
Right? But also because the energy field is so sensitive now.
Yeah.
That we are having a lot of electrical stuff
Yeah.
problems, all right?
Okay.
But also if you can say into, everything's going to work great, you're going to command the energy to not have problems.
Right.
Right? And a lot of people don't know how to do that, but that's part of the learning. Okay, I get it. Just like with, retrograde, Mercury and retrograde,
right.
and how it affects. A lot of people, that's crap stuff. But now everybody have experience that it's true.
Yeah.
It does affect the actual electrical
We used to think
stuff.
our mother went into retrograde every once in a while.
Your mother? Don't we all? We have to. We have to put our mother hat on, We have to protect our kids. But, but there's so much to that.
Yeah.
But also, like when I do house clearing or house cleansing, a lot of people say, oh, yeah, I got this entity and I've got all this. But they just told me what they have there. They put that there.
Yeah.
So I will purposely go in there and put the positive in there, but also I will do the things that make them comfortable. They feel that I have to use sage, do a cleansing that way, or I have to do sweetgrass or whatever. Like I'm actually doing something, but all I have to do is just go into the environment and put the positive energy in there and teach them to have the positive energy. It's all about the old ways of thinking and projecting. So if you feel that you have a negative entity or something like that coming in, you have a negative energy.
Yeah.
However, there are lower frequencies, and we can stand in our power and say, you cannot come into my energy field.
It's interesting.
Right.
Okay.
You cannot just state it.
There have been others that I'll ask you. I don't know where you stand on these things.
Yeah.
Can we get a little weird?
Pardon me?
Can I get a little weird?
Please do. I probably get a lot weirder.
Okay.
I probably know more.
I'm sure you do.
Oh yeah. I've been called everything.
Why? What do you mean called everything? Why?
Well, I've been called a witch. I've been called, but it was in a woo woo stuff. Oh, get away from me with that woo woo stuff. That's evil. Because that's the programming that they've had.
Yeah, right.
They don't have the teaching of it yet. All right, that's their own ignorance of not wanting to know.
What do you say for people who have? There's a book that it's next on my reading list. I'm a little slow here, but it's sitting on my end table, and it's about attachments to you, to us, and that everybody has some attachments that probably people like you can help remove. And but that there are some people who die and they don't know that they've died. Like either they're too drugged
they
up.
haven't crossed over yet.
Yeah, they're too drugged up or they died so suddenly, and that they attach to somebody's human energy. And they're there. And that if you, this sounds strange, but if you lay still and say something like, get yourself close to a meditative state and say, I know you're here, and it's time for you to go. Yeah. Okay, that really
You can do that. Yes.
I know, but it's so weird to me.
Well, it sounds weird,
yeah,
but it's really amazing, isn't it?
Well, it is because if you do it, and I've done it, you feel lighter.
Exactly. And a lot of people say, well, I have to protect myself. I have to do this. All you need to do is just, instead of letting anything negative come towards you, whether it's entity or people or a frequency, just say, if you're not of the light, you do not have my permission to come in.
Okay.
It's about you are standing in your power, giving that entity, knowing that it won't be allowed.
Okay.
And that's where they will not touch somebody that isn't vulnerable. If you're vulnerable, they're going to see that weak point. Those are the issues in the tissues.
Gotcha.
Those are the fear and the anger and the stress and everything they've been programmed to believe this is going to happen.
Right.
So they're living in that fear. But if you put it out, I am the light. Nothing can come near me but the light.
Okay.
Which is a higher frequency.
It is
light
a higher frequency.
Light is higher frequency.
Yes, right.
So just understand it, good or bad, as higher frequency, lower frequency.
Right.
And how does it affect me, my physical body, emotional, mental, and spiritual, everything?
So I would say now this is where I think people sometimes have trouble because we're all croak. I'll say instead
You're
of
all
die.
what?
We'll all croak. I say that.
Our physical meat suits will die.
Well,
yes.
right, but we don't die. Okay, so, but in that, a lot of times it becomes issues in the tissues that will get us out of the meat suit, so to speak. And some of that stuff, is it because we're so, I don't know, in our head, are we creating these things for ourselves? We almost to where you said, and I think this is really important, that if somebody believes they have an entity, they have an entity, right? And then if I come in there, I can basically just try to spread positive energy, and that's all I really need to do.
Yeah.
But I'll put on the show, so to speak, and give them the sage and stuff. And I don't mean to minimize that.
No,
That's not what I'm trying to say.
It's about what they believe.
Yes. So if you believe, like, I always wonder too, sometimes when people are told that they're very sick,
That's right.
very quickly.
That's right.
But then there are other people who all of a sudden you hear the story about, we'll use the term beat it, or they've lived with it and it didn't affect them much.
That's what
all in the
energy
head.
psychology
Yeah,
is.
okay.
And it's about, you've been told you're going to die,
Yeah.
but you say, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to take control of this. And that is evidential stuff that's happened over and over and over again.
Right.
And people are coming forward with that.
That's where I always think too that the go forth and tell no one. Those are the times where you really almost have to keep people away. I don't know about people away.
Well,
that's not right. But opinion away.
Well,
or their belief away.
oh, absolutely.
So I don't get sucked into no one's ever beat this. I don't know how. My God, my uncle had this. He was dead within a day. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I like about my classes, is because I teach them how to do that.
Okay.
And to understand what it is, so that they will stand in their power.
Yes.
And people don't understand that. So it's about your DNA.
Yep.
So you started talking about people that almost died or in limbo.
Yes.
Their souls type of thing.
Yes.
All right. So that can happen too. And a lot of people say, well, they're going to bring it in with their next lifetime, or they're not going to be a good person. Karma stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
That's true or not true. But the difference is that now you can change that. In other words, the things that you lived in other lifetimes does not have to actually hurt your lifetime, the next coming lifetime.
Right.
Because of the energy work that you're doing now. That's called the ascension time. Ascension time is about actually building up your consciousness, your higher consciousness, going within and changing that consciousness field. So energy is consciousness. And when you die, your consciousness or your soul doesn't die.
Right.
That energy comes in with you. That's why a lot of people do past life regression and they want to know. It is about your soul never dies, and anything you've encountered will bring it in. The difference now is that we don't have to bring in the dark stuff or the lower frequency stuff.
Right.
And that's which is really good. People are starting to understand that they have the actual ability. And when you start seeing all these things in mainstream or your own life of kids, we talked about that, the kids with a different frequency. They think differently. They are different than we are.
Right.
It's another...
I always think that they're closer to source. They just got here.
That too.
I always think that we haven't screwed them up enough yet.
That's true too.
You know what I
and
mean?
that's what energy psychology is. It's about, they have wisdom from the soul, from the universe. They just came from there.
Right.
All right. And so what is happening is a lot of parents, young parents, are recognizing when their kid is like 2 or 3 years old and say, "Mommy, remember when I was your mommy and I told you not to go down the street and you did anyway?" It's like a lot of stuff, "Oh, that's ridiculous." You listen, say, "Yeah, tell me more."
Yeah.
And that will open up the abilities, all right? And that's kind of evidence showing it. The same with the kids, even the babies in the incubators that are turning over. They're trying to run out of the incubators.
Yeah.
Or the 2-year-old playing the piano, There's so much evidence out there that our babies, that people that are born now, are different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you talk about evolution, I always think we didn't bring anything in here. I didn't come here and have to start over.
No.
I didn't bring anything with me. Nothing's trucked in, and I don't have to start over. I'm not hunting and gathering. I'm not doing this.
Well,
all the things are here.
Well, what's going to happen in the next lifetime is that we're going to know things. We don't have to let go of what we learned in this lifetime. So A lot of the things that we have gained knowledge over, a lot of it is that we lose our memories. We don't understand it like we were a high priestess or whatever in another lifetime, and we did all these things. In this lifetime, we're a bum on the street type thing. How come different type of lifestyles? The thing is that you learn to experience from those lifestyles. But now, because this energy is all changed, when you pass over or transcend into another form, into a higher frequency, a soul, no more meat suit, all right? You gain all that wisdom that you always had.
Right.
And when we are going to evolve again in the new soul, the new young children, those are the ones that have the power because they are living in the frequency of knowing.
Right.
All right. And just like animals, animals know how to, when they're born, to get up slowly and get down and walk. Children are starting to show that.
Yeah, I
it's like
think that kids have for a while, right?
Right.
To a certain degree. I wanted to just go back here. Give me 1 second. So many things happening. People commenting.
Oh, you can do it live?
Yeah, for example, when the gummies kick in. Yes, gummies.
Great, I love it.
That means more than one. Well, yeah, I mean, anything that's going to prevent you. Let's talk about fear for a second, but fear around specific things, right? I don't know what people, I don't think they think globally of fear. I think your biggest fear is abundance, money, right? And how do you remove that fear or that blockage or that thinking? And I had an interesting conversation today because with my father, and I mentioned something to him about relatives. He had a cousin that passed, and her children don't talk to her. Mm-hmm. And I was close with her children. They would be my second cousin once removed, but we were of a like mind. We'd love to have fun. Mm-hmm. And I said, my father can't get over the fact that she passed and none of her kids may know or not know. Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't feel like it's my place to really tell. I don't want to stick my nose in there. It's none of my business. And I do talk to her oldest son, and she used to always say to me a lot of times, how is he? Where is he? What's going on? If you talk to him, please tell him. It was sad. Yeah. But their dad was a neurosurgeon, and they had a beautiful home on a golf course in Augusta. And they were putting a $20,000 addition onto the home in 1985. So just to give you the dollar stuff. Mm-hmm. The guy was loaded. And this kid was a cut-up. And he was kind of like, that's why my father was a little more heavy-handed on me. Otherwise, I would have been right there. I mean, I think we got caught racing golf carts across, and we were brought in by security to our parents at the country club having dinner. Yeah, that's the kind of. So he said, I said to him, because he said there were 3 kids, and I said, I think the youngest one still talks to the father. And my dad said, oh, yeah, well, and I said, the oldest one will say because he still needs dad's money. The other 2 are independently wealthy. My father goes, how did that happen? I go, what do you mean? Because this one guy owns a bunch of restaurants in the South, and then also owns a resort in Belize, and then once in a while will just go as a private chef on scuba expeditions for people and cook while they're on the boat and do all these things. And his sister runs like a $400 million real estate portfolio. And I said, I think that there's so much in our mind. There's a book, and I haven't read it, but I'm familiar a little bit with it, called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And are you familiar with that?
I read it a long time ago.
Oh, you did read it. Okay. Tell me if I got the theory right. Basically, it's almost like the expectation. You could be as dumb as a box of lips, and yet you came from a wealthy family, and not that they're going to support you, but you found ways. It was just the expectation. It was the energy. Right. In my mind, that it just flowed, and so you were going to have it. And then the others where we're programmed of, you got to save for the rainy day. You never know when you're going to run out of money. You better be busting your ass. You better put it in this. You better do that. And we stay there. Yeah. And what is the difference? And I don't.
It's freedom of choice. It's choice.
Yeah.
It's your choice to do whatever you want to. It's people. There's so many ways of looking at that.
Yeah,
you could put it into different siblings looking different. They got the same gene pool.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here?
Right.
Or different personalities when they grew up in the same home. It's about their own choices. What they choose to actually put in their life or not put in their life. And a lot of times people didn't feel comfortable being wealthy, and they felt more comfortable going to the homeless shelters or helping out people like that. But that wasn't, that wasn't acceptable or whatever. We don't do that stuff. Well, that feeds that person's soul, and they're happy.
Right.
And just like you can be happy forever with nothing.
Yes.
And that's the difference. And you can have everything and be so miserable.
But there could be, that's true.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's somebody going, this is all great.
Yeah.
But how do I get more, and how do I stop stressing about it? And if my negative thinking is, oh my gosh, where is it? I'm stressing it. Then I'm pushing against it. It's
come
all
to a healer like me.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm saying this because I think like we can go, well, that's great, but my bank account. Well, I've heard people say you already have it; it's already there, but it's not in your bank account yet because you haven't allowed it to. And then you go, okay, this is where I think people start to resist. They go, that's woo-woo, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's not this. I've got to grind it out and do the thing. And the reason you got to grind is because you believe you have to.
That's the programming.
Yeah. You believe you have to.
Exactly the program.
But I would always say that, okay, well, let's look at it a different way. If you grind it out and you feel like you accomplished something, let's say you're trying to lose weight and you go to the gym and you really push through and you start to feel better. And you start to feel accomplished. And that's why I always think that, maybe it's important to do hard things just because it makes
Challenge
you
yourself.
feel better, right?
Yeah.
And you're in a better, I swear to God, it changes your frequency. It changes your frequency. I think it changes your frequency, your mindset, because now you think I can instead of you're right?
That is energy psychology.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that is about thinking differently.
Yeah.
All right. And having evidence proof yourself because you see you're changed. Okay.
Yes.
Well, something happened. What did I change? Oh, I faced my fears. Oh,
yes.
I stopped hanging with those people that told me that I couldn't do it.
Right.
Oh, I just listened to my heart's desire.
Right.
I went inside and listened for help, or somebody just showed up in my life serendipitously.
Yes.
And it's like, that's what happens. Somebody shows up that you said, I got to listen to that person. I got to listen to that. And then you listen to that person, your life started changing. And they say, why didn't I do it before? Because you weren't ready.
So
it wasn't the time.
Let's talk about, like some people say everybody wants something, right? We all want something.
But what do you want?
Well, you could want a partner, you could want money, you could want, right?
Don't we all? Yeah.
Yes. So,
but how important is it? I mean, do you have to?
Well, you want to be able to.
Oh, sure. You want to support yourself. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're as a friend of mine would say, the balls of your ass, right? The balls, that you would be looking for something. But I'm starting to wonder if this is true. You fall in love, right? And you feel this great thing. And when the person's around, you're just in love. Is that the other person, or is that you allowing yourself to be free like that in the presence of the other person? Is it the other person who has the ability to love? They are the object of my attention, so therefore that's where my focus is and I feel great, and then when they leave I don't feel so great.
Okay.
But is there a way to always feel great if I just open it up? And
remember, it's about living in reality, because life isn't always about being great.
No, it's not.
It's about how you deal with it and how you respond to it.
Yeah.
All right. Just like if a person is being mean to you and you respond meanly back, you're not changing the situation.
No. You're making it worse.
Right. And in a relationship, too, is sometimes that relationship has to fail so that you can change.
Yes.
And then you find somebody that you're more compatible with.
Yes.
There's many, many factors to that.
No, right. But I mean, the idea that you are that love, that energy always. It's always there, whether that's that person or not. They're just highlighting that inside of you.
Right.
And you have that ability to always feel that way.
Exactly.
And you really can't hang it on somebody else to go, well, you make me feel great, but when you leave, you make me feel like shit. And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying I it's all in here. It's all in you. I'm asking, not telling. I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, is it all in you, and that person is just highlighting the love that is in you? And the ease and flow when that person's around, it's really the ease and flow you could have when that person's not around. if you allowed it. But for whatever
Exactly.
reason in your head, you've associated this person with that.
Because we always feel that something outside has to fill us up.
Yeah.
It's like we have to fill ourselves up first.
Yes.
That's where going.
You got to be
and
selfish.
Being spiritually selfishness, it's called.
Okay.
It's,
I never.
Okay. Well,
there's a
that's part of the
phrase.
stuff that I teach in one of my classes, but spiritual selfishness.
How do
is-
you get to your classes? We've never talked about how to get to your classes.
They're right on my website. I
Okay.
just had an intensive workshop last weekend, 3
Okay.
days. It was amazing. It
I'm
was
sure.
amazing.
I'm
and
sure.
one of them was some person that heard me on here. So,
Yes.
which is yes.
I love that.
And it's about hearing and knowing you got to do it. All right. So my website has another class coming up in March. It's a 3-day workshop. And a lot of people say, well, I can't spend the time. It's like, okay, you just said that you're not worth it and you don't want to do it. Okay,
Right.
that's fine.
Exactly.
You know, next type thing.
But you
it's
you
true.
would go where for 3 days?
Right. You go to I have it in my home. All right. And
Yeah.
the more people I have.
No. What I'm saying is they would spend the money to do something else.
Oh yeah,
for
just
3
like
days.
you know, it's too expensive, but they'll spend $8 to $10 now for a latte compared to when it used to be $1 or $2 and then $3, $4. Now it's so high. So it's like, where's
You know,
your
Sheila,
priorities?
I have a $9 coffee pot.
I know.
I'm not kidding. I have like what the one that I bought at Walmart, and I think the switch doesn't work. I taped it, and it has nothing to do with money. I just wanted to see how far I could get this to go, and the coffee's good. It's fine with me. I like it. I'll either drink it black or I'll put creamy oat milk in it, and that's it. I don't know why. It's like I don't even care. And I've had the fanciest shit,
Yeah. So what I was saying about spiritual selfishness.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
It's about you understanding that you have to do the work.
Yep.
It's you understanding that you make yourself a priority. And it's not selfish as we associate it with in our modern language. All right. You're being selfish, and that's why you're doing that,
Yeah.
That's part of manipulation and all this other stuff. But you're being selfish with your time so that you know it's for you. You purposely take that time to go within and to work on yourself.
Yeah.
And that's where the SIP comes in, which we talked about.
Yeah.
3 minutes, just, what do I need to know today? It's just by doing different, not harder, different. And so a lot of times when I counsel with people, well, I do a session, and it includes counseling. In other words, what do we need to heal? Why are you here? What are you stuck with?
Yeah.
And so we talk about that stuff, and then realizing, okay, we're going to put it back in your power if you choose. We're going to get in there and help release a lot of the stuff that's stuck. And also it's going to, because this energy is different, it is going to start your own divineness opening up, your ability to tap into the energy that's here now. But it's still your choice.
Right.
And that is being spiritually selfish about your own time, about what you need to do to take care of yourself, because you have to put that oxygen mask on first. You can't take care of anybody else until you take care of you first.
I think what you're saying is so important, and I think a lot of times if we were to be honest with ourselves, we would say, I would feel so much better if that person acted differently.
Oh, sure.
Don't we? I mean,
Yeah, but
you're
it's
right.
not about them. It's about you.
Exactly.
It's about you.
That's why I think it's important, and I feel like that needs to be screamed from the mountaintops, because all of us will say, I would feel better if they just did this.
Oh, it'd be great if I made $1 million. It'd be great.
Yeah.
If I could drink all night and not suffer any consequences and just go on my day and just have fun all the time.
Yeah, right.
Well, where's that going to get you? Yeah.
I could think of a few places.
Yeah, right. No. You know what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
I know exactly what you're saying. But that's why I'm going. But if they acted differently, I wouldn't have this stress.
Well,
or if
that's
they were just
blaming.
nicer to me, or that was ever,
Right.
or
You're expecting somebody else to fill that empty hole inside.
right. So how do you then? Would you say? Because I always think we're in a very different reality
Oh, yeah.
now with
What's going on?
what's
Everything.
going on, but also the communication, the amount of people that will be able to, you can communicate and see things, and the phone is always there and all that stuff. And people will say, well, how do I get my kid to not be so influenced by social media? And the only thing I can think is you've got to get them to believe on the inside of themselves and build that self-esteem in some way. And all too often, it just must be conditioning by I don't know, osmosis almost to a degree, because I don't know that you worry about how you look, how you're perceived, what people think, what they say, when something happens. And it can destroy that belief and bring you down and depression and, sadness. And how I think the way to beat all that is to go inside and try to really do the work. And that to me is the real work in life.
Exactly. With anything.
Yeah.
With anything. People want to put it to the side, though, because it's not important enough.
Well, I think because it's not understood.
Yes, but they don't feel they're important enough. It's about worthiness.
Well, because
Think
we've
about
also
that.
been told that you've got to, you've got to, this is what you do. You got to go and you got.
What shoulda, coulda.
Yeah.
You're shitting on yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, stop shitting on yourself.
Yeah.
Because it is what you think.
Right.
And when you think that you should woulda do this, then that's what's going to happen. Because you just put it out there in the energy field. So it's all about the thinking, the consciousness.
Right.
What you think is what you project out. What we were talking about, the energy on electrical devices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that is very, very true. That is the energy field is consciousness. And if you raise your consciousness to be able to receive this stuff, you start to feel empowered.
Right.
All right. And just like with yourself, when you start to change and something good comes from and say, yeah, you're
Right.
empowered.
Right.
That's about your ability as a human to be empowered by your own power.
Right.
But you have to do something. You can't, do it through osmosis.
No.
Well, you can, as far as if you're around the right people and they see something in you and they will kind of give you a little bit of hint of what to do. All right.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, how did you know that? How did you know that that's what I wanted to do? It was in your field.
Right.
But it's not presently known to you yet because you haven't activated those abilities to know that. That's why energy healing, and I'm a teacher, I teach you how to do that yourself, all right? First, you got to know what it is.
Right.
A lot of people don't understand what it is. It's about your thinking and how you respond, all right? And why you're in the situation you're in.
Right.
Now, I'm not putting any blame or anything like that, but I have a lot of people that come to me as I've been manifesting for years and nothing's happening. Why? They just said, nothing's happening.
Right.
Why? All right.
Well, you put that block there, right there.
Exactly.
Those words,
And
it sounds so simple
it is
to
but
the
it
point
isn't.
that it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you really have to change the thinking. How many times have somebody? I always think of this. I want a new job. I hate the job I have. I've applied everywhere, and I can't do this. I went in an interview, and this isn't working, and that isn't working. I'm just going to give up and stay where I'm at.
Yeah.
And then you get a call about a week later because you put it down, and he's changed your focus.
It's the same with people trying to have children too.
Yeah.
They go
Yes,
through all
yes,
the IFF,
yes,
and they
yes.
put all this money out, and then they say, "Oh, the hell with it,
Yes.
enough." And then all of a sudden they get pregnant.
Yes.
Or they get pregnant, they adopted a child, and all of a sudden they get pregnant.
Yes.
It's the same situation.
Yes, I had neighbors that did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they adopted a young girl from China, and they were Finnish and Swedish, and they had a daughter about the same time, of the same age, with the blonde hair, blue eyes. And they're
Exactly.
sisters, and it's wonderful.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's so true, because I would say that you have to put your focus on something else. If there's something that's really bothering you and you can't, like to what Sheila's even saying, is, try to raise it. You just can't on this subject. Focus on something else.
Yeah.
Focus on something else, and that's
focus
hard
on
to
gratitude.
do too. Yeah,
Gratitude.
okay, gratitude's a
And
great one.
thankfulness.
Yeah.
And where you're blessed, and
Yeah.
turn it around.
Yeah.
Turn it around.
And I think gratitude can be really simple things. Sometimes what a great exercise to do is, I think, is to get up and write maybe 3 things, simple things that you're grateful for, right? I'll write weird things like I appreciate ease and flow. That's one of my favorite things. I appreciate ease and flow. I appreciate the universe revealing funny things to me. I appreciate being able to surprise people with the unexpected in a funny way. Those sorts of things. That's my favorite stuff. However, you could go, I appreciate the fact that I have a warm cup of coffee this morning, because yesterday I dropped it all over the floor, or I left it in my car and it was freezing cold by the time I got back. It can be that.
Yeah, I'm appreciated that I come and sit in the seat and don't have my stomach bug that I had a few days ago.
There you go. That seat's appreciative too.
That's right. I know. Absolutely.
That's awful. But right. So I do think all these things are
Attitude.
Yeah. And we've heard for years, attitude is everything. But it was so hard. And I feel like there was never well, how do I change the attitude? And that's why I've come, and I don't know if it's right. It feels right to me. So I'll say that.
Exactly.
I'll go with my intuition. And that when I say things like go for the better feeling thought, sometimes the better feeling thought is just revenge, which is better than despair. I'm not saying that you're should go do revenge. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. But it's a little bit better, right? And then can we get a little bit better from there? Now I'm angry. Maybe I you know what I'm saying?
You can think it through, though.
Yeah.
You think it through, and then you realize, oh, that's not a good.
That's not a good idea. No.
But you can think it, and then you can say, well, what's going to happen for that if I do that?
Right.
And then it's about growing. It's about knowing you can't do that. It's like that ain't going to work.
No.
It's going to cause more problems.
And the knee-jerk reaction stuff is...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I know that we talked about fear, which I always think is just one that just hangs on so many people. So...
Well, it is. It is about fear
about
nowadays.
So many things.
It is fear what's going on today. And fear brings out the worst in people.
Yeah.
Is because they don't know how to do different. That's the whole key. They don't. And everything is getting bombarded. It is crazy. And I will say the word crazy of what's going out there. But what I will put out there is that this is a time of change. This is a time of great hope. And this is what we need to do to survive.
Okay.
A lot of people say, this is going to whatever. It's like, we've been doing the same stuff for many, many, many years, just like with us, the way we think.
Right.
And it's time to say, okay, it's time to do different. And give it a chance.
Right.
Do different.
Yes.
But take the challenge to do different. And
yeah. And I also think if you can't in those with that thinking, try to focus on something else. Because I always believe if you've got 3 things going great and 1 going bad, focus on the bad and they'll all go bad. If you got 1 going good and 3 going bad, focus on the good, and the others rise up. They just do.
That's true.
It just is, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
It just and I know you go, well, that sounds really easy. No, but focus on what's going well. Something's got to be going well. Right. You're still here. You're still
breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What's going well? Or even if it's something with the kid. Hey, I had a great conversation with. You'll see that you'll get more and more and more of that, and less of the shit. And that's what we don't want. We want less of the shit.
Exactly.
And then I will say life's never going to stop coming at you.
No.
Right? But again, there's no meaning to it other than the meaning you apply to it.
With it.
You can ride the waves. Yeah. Exactly. Or you could just, as I like to say, play above the noise slightly. Try to stay up here. It's going to keep coming at you, but you could stay up here.
Well, that's exactly what I do with my hearing aids, And before I even had hearing aids, I'd have to go above the noise. The noises...
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, I'm visual. I take it all in.
Yep.
And it's like, use what you can with what you got.
Right.
If you don't have it, you can't use it, but there's other things that you do have that you can use.
Yeah.
Just like gratitude, well, I don't have a good job, so I'm not grateful. Look at that guy over there. Okay. What, do you have food on the table right now? Are you eating right now?
Right.
If you're not, do you have friends that you could call?
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, I don't have any friends. Okay. All right. People will notice, and they will probably reach out. Yeah. If you put that out there, if you're open to it. But a lot of people say, why would you want to help me? I'm just a piece of shit or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of them feel that way.
I agree.
A lot of them feel that way. And it's like, because it's like their world is falling apart. Right. It is. It's falling apart. It's like,
yeah.
Take a few breaths.
It is.
Go within. You're okay.
You're okay. Yeah.
You're okay.
Everything's going to be okay.
It is. And it's slowly changing.
I think
it will be okay.
I think a good thing to always say too, and really believe is everything's always working out for me.
Yeah.
Right? Everything's always working out for me. But you got to really believe that. And I think when you start to see evidence of it, and if that means that you've got to grind or you want to push yourself through something to accomplish something, the achievement, the self-esteem, all that feels so good. You're on a higher frequency, my friend, when you get there. Stay there and keep going, and you can, we can move mountains.
Absolutely.
And that's the stuff that I think is important and yet lost.
Yes.
Because we blame somebody else. It's somebody else's fault.
It's a victim.
Stuck.
Well, hey.
I'm here. But the universe loves you so unconditionally that whatever you believe, you shall have.
That's absolutely
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a
Yeah,
good one
yeah.
to end on. Oh, but before we end, I want to ask you about is it the angel classes you're doing over at the parent?
Yeah,
Tell me about this, because you sent me the flyer.
Right.
I mentioned it I tried to put it in the ad a little bit, but I don't know that I fully understood the dates and things.
Okay, so the energy healing class that I'm going to, not energy healing, learning about angels,
Okay.
connecting with your angels, is called Healing Angels of the Energy Field.
Okay.
Right, and it's about it's a 4-week class that starts the last Wednesday of March. I think it's March 26th. Right?
Okay.
It is a Wednesday afternoon. It's 2-hour class, and it runs for 4 weeks. It ends the week before Easter, just in time to, during Lent, and everybody is getting that connected. But it's about you connecting with the helpers that are with you. And a lot of people love angels.
Yes.
And it's individual angels where you actually invite them in and just feel their presence and listen to the angels talking to you. And that get a one-to-one relationship with an angel, all right?
How many people cry when they're in?
A lot of them. But it's like, we always know that there's somebody's there for us.
Well, just it almost, I'm saying of relief.
Oh.
The relief. I don't mean cry, scared, sad. No, I mean relief.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very much relief. Very much
I believe
so.
that.
So that is the Healing Angels of the Energy Field, and that is at Parrington Community Center.
Yeah.
If you're interested in that, it is a paid class.
Okay.
And you have to go through the Parrington Community Center to register.
Okay.
And it's 4 weeks
Yep.
from 1 to 3 in the afternoon.
Okay.
All right. And it can, I might be offering that class on the outside to people. It's a full day class where you learn to connect, and that's really fun too.
Yeah.
So that might be in the spring sometime.
Okay.
I also have next Wednesday is the energy medicine presentation at Parrington Community Center.
That's the one I'm talking about.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That is the one next Tuesday. And it's a 1-hour free presentation. You do have to register at the 55 plus office.
Right.
At Parrington Community Center.
But this is about healing energy.
It's about healing. What does it mean? What's healing energy?
Sure.
All right. The class is the Healing Angel class. All right. This is so you can connect with your own angels.
Yeah.
Now, my own personal classes that I do is my next series is intensive workshop, which is 3 levels of integrated energy therapy. Integrated energy therapy is done with angels, but it's about your higher consciousness. If you don't like angels, just change the words, your higher consciousness, all right? It's about you healing, getting unstuck.
Right.
What's stuck?
Right.
Learning what is stuck. How did it get there?
Right.
And then you go from there. It's all about your intention.
Yeah.
It's about wanting to change or knowing you need to change, and that little, thing saying, you better listen to this. Listen to it, all right? And also, if you can't join those classes, I also do individual classes. A lot of people want individual classes, so I do that too. And so...
All this is on your website.
All of it's on my website. I also do the energy sessions. I do mentoring energy sessions once a month. You have your own private healing sessions, whether in person or online. And it's a wonderful way of learning stuff about yourself, where it's more of a mentoring. So it's a little bit longer than a regular short, a 1-hour session. It's usually an hour and a half, all right, where I spent with you. I educate you. But it's also entitles all my other communities that I have, and all the other archive, my own podcast. I have all that stuff and learning modalities to learn about this stuff. It's all part of that. Or you can just have a regular session for $122, and a lot of people do that, like they have their own massage therapy once a month, and so some people do it like 2 to 3 months at a time or 1 month at a time. And some people do a full year. So I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm going to do an energy session once a month.
Yeah.
And then with that, you get the ability to start understanding how this energy affects you and how you can change your life.
Well, I feel like I always try to I don't know.
And then I also have the heart math. The heart math, learning about what does that mean? How do you build resilience against stress and trauma, anxiety?
Right.
And it's about learning how to be coherent techniques of slowing down your breathing and going within and from your emotions, from your heart and your head, thinking of things that make you happy.
Yes.
And as you do that, you train your body to go into relaxation mode.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it is opening up your consciousness.
So what I was going to say,
your field.
I always think this, right?
Yes.
And I don't mean, I mean the iPhone.
Yeah.
Intuitive, right?
Yes.
It's very easy to use. So how do you take all these things where some people go, energy. You've all been in a room where someone has walked in and they've become the dominant energy in the room, whether they're super funny and charismatic,
Right.
or they're in a pissed off mood and the air turns purple, right? We can say that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We've all been there. What is that? What is that?
Okay.
That's energy.
That's energy.
And that's what Sheila's talking about. And I'm just saying, like, for those that go, oh, this energy bullshit. No. It's there. You've experienced it. You know it. You probably have. There's people you avoid because the energy is different, right? Whatever that is. And sometimes I would say that you can even control that to a certain degree. There's no assertion, but if you have, let's say it's a boss, and you go, Jesus Christ, I love when the guy's gone, but he's up my ass.
Yeah.
Well, I always say try to find positive attributes of the person.
Yeah.
Think of those, write them down, focus on that. Guarantee you get more of that and less of the bullshit.
Exactly.
Don't you think? I mean,
absolutely.
but as nutty and as weird as people go, we make life harder than it needs to be. It's a gift. It truly is. It's a journey. Right? And you're supposed to learn from this stuff. You know what you don't want, know what you do want, and just keep going. Yeah. Right? And you never get it wrong. Just get in a different car once in a while. You know what I'm saying? I like an Audi R8. Right? You know what I mean? Today I'll take a Jeep. Whatever. But I'm just saying, like, we change things. And that's why I want to speak it that way, because I feel like some people hear energy and they're gone.
Oh, woo-woo. Oh,
right? Yeah. Woo-woo. And it isn't.
No,
it's
like
not.
You walk in a room and you know somebody that you want to talk to and somebody you don't want to talk to, and you can feel the energy oozing from them.
Right. Or even somebody who you're normally happy to see, and you go over and you're like, oh my God, what did I do?
You
automatically we say, what did I do? You did nothing.
It was them.
Yes, it's always them. And when you're feeling shitty, it's you.
And if you're feeling shitty, maybe it was guilt, maybe something you did. And it's like you need to change it.
Right, exactly.
So that's all about you.
Right.
It's about you have to go within and you have to do the work.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't want to do that.
All right.
That's okay.
I think it's a great note to end on.
Yeah.
And go to SheilaTillich.com, please.
Yeah. And they also can actually go to email Sheila@SheilaTillich.com and just send me an email.
Yeah.
And,
okay. All right. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Shelia Tillich, Tillich.
And also there's the 30-minute discovery call for free on my website. Just do that, and you can Zoom with me, and we can talk.
Look at this.
Yeah, 30 minutes free. Hey,
okay.
How's that?
Yeah, that's great. I think that's actually really good.
Yeah.
This is all for your better health, right? I mean, really, when we think about it.
It is for your health.
Yeah, right.
It's
and
all
again,
about moving forward.
I don't want anybody to walk out, it's all going to be it's not. Life's going to keep coming at you, but this gives you a way to handle everything, sort of see it for what it really is. And remember, the meaning is whatever you give it, right? That person's a piece of, you're applying that meaning, and you can change it. You can change it. Yeah.
Yep.
So, always a pleasure, Sheila. Love seeing you.
I love it too. Thank you so much, Bill.
You are welcome. And this has been another Billified, and we will eventually get this on its own and be its own podcast. And I will see you tomorrow.
Listen to me. All you need, you already own. It was given to you on the day that you